Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to the Fast Break Report, and today we're going to be talking about the Brooklyn Nets' current situation now that they have traded for James Harden. This seems to be a huge topic of discussion right now. As far as will the Nets be able to win a championship with their current roster in place? And to be honest with you, the easy answer that I see a lot of people saying is no. They're not. They just lack so much on defense that they won't be able to win. And I've actually come up with kind of a solution for this problem, and it's something that I can actually see becoming a problem in the future. So by doing this, I think the Nets are actually solving a future problem by making this one trade that I think will turn the team around entirely. So right now, it's obvious James Harden is on the Nets. In his opening debut without Kyrie Irving, he had a 32-point triple-double in a Nets win. And it's pretty obvious at this point that somebody on that team is going to have to be the third wheel. It's not going to be Kevin Durant. I don't think it's going to be James Harden. So it's going to have to be Kyrie Irving. And if you look at history, right? Kyrie Irving, his whole reasoning for going to Boston was because he wanted to lead a team to a championship. He wanted a team to be his own. Then he went to Brooklyn thinking that he'd be able to help Kevin Durant win a ring, right? Or at least be his number two. And it seemed like Kyrie Irving was okay with that. Then they traded for James Harden, and now I don't see how much Kyrie Irving is going to enjoy being a third wheel on a potential championship team, because whether you like it or not, the narrative for Kyrie Irving is always going to be, oh, he played with Kevin Durant. Oh, he played with LeBron James. He's always been around somebody that's actually better than him. And in this case, he's actually got two guys now that are better than him, where I think Kyrie Irving cares a lot about his legacy. I think there's going to be, eventually at some point during the season, Kyrie Irving is going to get disgruntled. And he's already doing things that he shouldn't be. Like, he's out partying and he's out for the next 1 to 2 weeks for personal reasons. The guy's just really immature. I'm just going to call it what it is, and people aren't going to like that I say that, but it is what it is. Kyrie Irving is an immature basketball player. So how can the Nets not only turn themselves into a championship contender, but get rid of Kyrie Irving in the process? Because personally, Kyrie Irving's not a pass-first point guard. He's an isolation-first point guard. And you have a team with three isolation players who, not for nothing, the best defensive player out of all three is Kevin Durant. And they can't, I just don't see them playing Kevin Durant at center. I just don't see it happening. And not for nothing, let's just get on the topic of DeAndre Jordan while we're here. Lob City DeAndre Jordan, I don't think is in Brooklyn anymore. I think last year, DeAndre Jordan, yes, he was there, but they even started Jared Allen over him. Don't get me wrong, DeAndre Jordan is still a solid backup center, but he's not the guy who's going to come out and posterize, who is it? Brandon Knight anymore. He's not Lob City DeAndre Jordan anymore. He's still good. He's still going to get you blocks, rebounds, and maybe 6 points a game or something like that. But DeAndre Jordan is not what he used to be. If he is, I'll be shocked that he is. And if he can somehow be that player again, the Nets won't have to make this trade at all. But I just don't see that happening. So what can the Nets do to fix this gaping hole they have in the middle, right? I think what they have to do is trade Kyrie Irving to Cleveland for Andre Drummond. Send Kyrie Irving back to Cleveland. They have Colin Sexton and Darius Garland. If you can squeeze Darius Garland out of it, that would be amazing, but I don't think that's going to happen. But Andre Drummond is on an expiring contract. He's made pretty much all the money he's going to make in the NBA, mostly because he's not going to make $30 million a year anymore after his contract expires this year. And not for nothing, Andre Drummond should be ring chasing at this point in his career, not chasing dollar signs. He's made more than enough money in the NBA with the past however long he's been in the league. I think he's been in the league easily 10 plus years, I think. So it's just the idea. Andre Drummond is at a point where he can still go out and get you a 2020 once in a while. Like when he plays against Miles Turner, it's a 2020. When he plays against guys who are, I want to say, they're not under the basket players. They don't play in the post. Like when he plays against centers who spend their time out on the wings shooting jump shots, the guy eats. Okay? He can get you blocks. He's an okay passer. He's not an amazing perimeter defender, but where you really need the defense is in the paint. And then if you can somehow make this trade and pull this trade off where you're, I don't know, maybe even get a draft pick out of it where you send, where you send Kyrie Irving to Cleveland for Andre Drummond, maybe get Darius Garland. That's asking for a lot, but if you can get Darius Garland or a draft pick out of it, do it. And the reason I say that is because that fills your hole in the middle. You still have Spencer Dinwiddie. If you can maybe go out and get a guy like Joe Ingles or like a 3-and-D guy, Joe Ingles from Utah, or Bojan Bogdanovic, if I said that correctly, or Bogdanovic. I don't know if I said that correctly or not. I'm sure someone's going to correct me in the comment section below. But if you can go out and get a 3-and-D guy like that, or a guy who's not afraid to play defense, right? That'll at least help you playing against the Lakers, because that's what everybody's worried about, is how are they going to match up against a team like the Lakers or the Bucks, or even a team like the 76ers who have Joel Embiid. Granted, okay, Joel Embiid tends to sun the shit out of Andre Drummond every time they play, but Andre Drummond is at least serviceable, okay? And then you still have DeAndre Jordan. And not for nothing, but like Andre Drummond is on an expiring contract. He knows he's not going to make $30 million a year again after this offseason. So maybe you can even bring Andre Drummond back on a cheaper deal in the future. To me, it just seems like this makes the most sense. And then if you look at some of the other teams, like we know the Minnesota Timberwolves aren't giving up Karl Anthony Towns. We know the Sixers aren't giving up Joel Embiid. We know for a fact the Suns aren't giving up DeAndre Ayton. Like the only other way I see that this works for the Nets is that they somehow find a way to trade Kyrie Irving to the Suns for Chris Paul. And even then, because Chris Paul's a better defender, he's a pass first point guard who can still score. There's certain people out there, like a special group of people who specifically last year alone think Chris Paul should have been in the MVP conversation, and rightfully so, because Oklahoma City vastly overperformed what people thought they would last year. So Chris Paul still has some game left in the tank. I just don't think the Suns are going to be willing to trade Chris Paul for a Kyrie Irving, because Chris Paul services their team better than having a Kyrie Irving on their team. So it's just the idea. I think Cleveland, not only that, but they get Kyrie Irving, then either Colin Sexton or Darius Garland become a trade piece for whoever you want. Maybe you could go out and get a guy like Zach LaVine, I don't know, or Bradley Beal. Who knows? Okay, who knows what Cleveland could do with that many point guards and that much talent. Colin Sexton got moved to the 2, but who knows? It's just the idea. I think with the current roster that the Brooklyn Nets have, they just simply do not have enough to beat the Lakers. Like, you got to match up with Anthony Davis and LeBron James. We already know Kevin Durant solves one of those issues, but who's guarding Anthony Davis? You know what I'm saying? I'll be honest, if they play, I would think that Kevin Durant is going to have to guard LeBron James, and then you got to have somebody attempt to guard Anthony Davis, and it's not going to be James Harden, and it's not going to be Kyrie Irving. Yes, you could put DeAndre Jordan out there, but I still think Andre Drummond is more serviceable for that matchup than DeAndre Jordan is. So that's just my personal opinion on this. Who knows? Maybe they trade for a guy like PJ Tucker. I don't know, but I still don't think this Nets roster is complete. I still think they need a dominant force down low if they really are to make a legitimate run at a championship. And I think Andre Drummond fits that role perfectly. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Tell me what you guys think down below in the comment section below. Like helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more. This is the Fast Break Report, and I'm out of here. Peace, guys.